Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and it is day 13 of Bookmas. Yesterday ended up not being a very great day. When I was doing bills and such, we're still dealing with the address change, and we had already gotten our new insurance cards for next year, but they had the wrong address, even though I changed it with the company. So I had to call, and then I was on hold forever, and it just got really frustrating. And then we get our dog food and such from Chewy, and they started placing a hold on the card like a day earlier, which was getting really annoying. So I called, just to say like, hey, that's not cool. Like, and the guy I was talking to was like, yeah, they told us like a couple weeks, before Thanksgiving that they were going to do it for the holiday season. And we asked if they were going to tell customers, oh, nope. So I'm like, well, they should have, like, especially when you're on a budget and such, like, you need to know those things. So yeah, but he was really cool, and he actually was able to fix it so they won't do that anymore on my orders. So that was nice. But anyway, my point is the day just kind of got away from me. And I just wasn't really in the mood to read yesterday. And then when my husband got home, I decided to play World of Warcraft with him. But I did decide to get a couple audiobooks because he also needs to go to a client's house today. And it's several hours, a couple hours, like 2 to 3 hours away from us. And then we'll probably get lunch and such and come back. And so I was like, I'll go with you because he wants company. If we can listen to an audiobook. So we kind of have a game plan for that. But we did read our next section of Christmas Eve Love Story by Ginny Baird. She's still, I don't think she's doing the Groundhog Day trope well because she's still kind of harping on it. And we're on, it was the sixth day for them, the sixth Christmas Eve. And so I did like this time she switched it over to more of Braden's point of view. It was a pretty short section, and it was more Braden's point of view of the situation. Because he doesn't really remember. So you kind of get Annie at first, and then Annie's like trying to, like, you don't remember anything. And she, like, at this point, she's feeling very comfortable with him and she wants to confide in him. And so she's trying to just, like, get him, like, this is happening, like, like, I know you don't remember, you don't know me, but he's getting impressions. So I did like that aspect of it. But it's just like, we know, as readers know, it's the Groundhog Day trope. And I know it'd be a shock to the, characters at first, but you don't need to keep harping on it. So that part I don't like. But she is doing better about not being so repetitive as far as the day goes. But it still doesn't make sense because there's this one situation and it happened in, I think, chapter 2, and then it happens here. But past that, and she does mention it, I think last chapter, but past that, it's like, that's a big event. Like, you would think, you know, but she doesn't really explain, like, why it didn't happen on day one, and then the other days, like, why she wasn't there or anything like that. And, like, she's really repetitive as far as those kids that destroy the window, which I get, that's like the big event, that's messing everything up, and she's not able to change it. But still, like, if I have to live, Marcus, me first, or Dylan, no, like every chapter, like, enough. So anyway, it's getting better. I'm enjoying it more. But as far as Groundhog Day trope go, not the best, not the best example. There is that one. I did read the next two essays in Spending the Holidays with People I Want to Punch in the Throat by Jen Mann. So this one, we're now on just to the last section, which is Other Holidays That Annoy Me. And there's 5 in that section, but they seem really short. So, yeah, they're like altogether 35 pages, a little bit more because the last one starts on page 35. So, on that 35th page, anyway. So it's going to be a little bit shorter than that. So I'll probably finish this tonight at bedtime. And the ones I read last night was I Should Have Had a Damn Holiday System and Annual Christmas Letters, The Art of the Humble Brag. So in the first one, she's basically saying how like some moms are like all about systems and put in place, where she's more hectic. And one year her son wanted, I don't know what, but he wanted this toy, and she buys way in advance. Like she buys all year long because she hates Christmas shopping at Christmas, with all the crowds and such. So she buys all year long, and so she gets this toy and she hides it, and she hides stuff all around the house, but then she can't remember where she hid it. Like she doesn't note it down or anything. She doesn't really have a system. So she hides this toy, and like that's what he wants. He always gives Santa three options. And he's like, the first option, I know Santa wouldn't mess up because they have him working towards that for his. If he gets good grades, he'll get that. He's like, I doubt Santa will bring that because that would mess up you guys, you having me work for it. The other one was a skateboard, and he's like, that's probably too dangerous. So I don't think Santa's gonna bring that, but I think he'll bring this one, his third option, which is this toy. Well, she bought it, but now she can't find it. The store's sold out, and he wants that. She's like, maybe there's something else you want to get. And his sister wanted like this doll, and she like told the family members like, I'm gonna get her this doll, so get all the accessories for her. And she changes her mind, so she's like, and he's like, no, you can't do that to Santa a week before Christmas. Like he doesn't have time to pivot, not he didn't say that, but that popped in my mind. Anyway, and so she's trying to get him to change, and he's like, no, like you don't change on Santa at the last minute. And his daughter wants this pooping puppy game or something. I don't know. But all her family have already bought all the accessories for these dolls. And she has a thing. She, she doesn't make it even as far as number of gifts for her kids, but the price needs to be even. And her husband's like, just get her the pooping puppy. You haven't bought the doll yet. Like, just get the puppy. And she's like, no, because his gift is really expensive. And then her gift won't equal that, and it has to be equal as far as price. So that one was kind of cute. And then she finds the toy in June. They got him something else, and she finds the toy in June. And then the annual Christmas letters, the art of the humble brag. She's talking about the letters that people send, and like how they're kind of like they kind of go in a similar format, like all the letters. And so she does like this fake letter. And so you're reading this fake letter about this fake couple. And then she does her real holiday letter, obviously taking out her children's names and her husband's name and such. And that one was fine. That wasn't my favorite. But yeah, overall, I actually am still really enjoying this. And now we're on to the other holidays. So we have a New Year's party, Halloween, it looks like. Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, and Easter. So we'll get the whole roundup there. But yeah, gonna hopefully finish this one tonight. Then I did listen to like 3.5 hours of A December to Remember by Jenny Bayless. This one, there's things I really like about it, but I'm not fully loving it like I did the others. So I got to page 116, and I'm now on chapter 14. And like I said, it was like 3.5 hours I listened to. So this one, you have the three sisters, and they are all older. So Maggie is the eldest, and she is in a relationship with a younger man. She has two kids. Her son's like 20, and then like a 10-year-old daughter, um, that she got pregnant after just like a casual affair, because her oldest son, his dad had passed away. And so she's dating a younger man who's also her employee, and she really wants to keep it secret. But he's like, I want to be with you. Like, I don't want to keep the secret. And she's also about to get evicted. Um, Her store, like, it was her mom's store, and now it's her store. And the landlord's been trying to get her out, and now he's finally served her an eviction notice. So we have that situation with her. The second one is Sloane, and her mom is very well to do. Um, and so she has money, and her mom's like, you know, like classy lady, I guess, and like has money and such. And her mom's kind of cold and a little bit closed off. And so you have Sloane, and her wife are trying to have a baby. And so she's been doing IVF and it's not working. So she's all frustrated with that. And it's causing strife with her and her wife. So you have that situation. And then you have, and that's another thing with Maggie, like, because she's older than him, she's worried like her kid days are done. Um, and I think she's 44 and like she has her two kids, like she's good. And so that's another thing. Like she's worried like he wants a family and I'm not going to be able to give it to him. So you have her, and then you have Star, who's the youngest, and her and Sloane had a big falling out because she was dating this guy who is addicted to drugs, and he got out of jail and he came over and she let him in the house. She was at Sloane's house at the time, and he ended up robbing them. And so he was back in jail, and then she got evicted from her house because of this ex-boyfriend who just got out of jail, and he's like harassing her and such, and he was creating a ruckus. And so her landlord's like, I'm really sorry, but like we have other people and we can't have this disruption, and so I really like you, but because of him, like, you gotta go, essentially. So she got evicted as well. And she doesn't really have money or anything like that, and then this guy's still harassing her. So they go, and their father eh, has died, and I think Star and Sloane's moms are still alive, and I believe it's Maggie's mom who's passed away. I know Star's mom for sure is alive, and I think Renee is Sloane's mom, who's the well off. So I believe it's Maggie's mom who has passed, but and so and they didn't get their father got them like for a month each summer, and that was like their memories. And Maggie lived in the town where their father was, but he didn't, really acknowledge her past that month each summer when all the girls were there. And he was very much like a wanderer. And so he has this antique shop, but he never was open because he was always off, doing his thing. And so in his will, he's like, you know, I have a lot of stuff, but he sends them basically on the scavenger hunt. He's hidden like Monopoly houses around. And so they have to go on the scavenger hunt. And he's like, this is more just for fun to get you guys working together. But then I want you to put on like the second condition of his will for them to get the inheritance is that they need to put on this like town Christmas festival. They need to put it back on this year because it hasn't been done in a while, I guess. And so yeah, and Sloane and Star don't get along because of the situation with her ex, and Maggie's like always the peacekeeper, but so yeah, they're working. They want their inheritance because if they don't do this, if they don't, succeed, then the inheritance is going to go off to various charities. And he hired a guy from Sotheby's, I want to say, to come appraise like the antiques and such. Like he already had that hired, and I think he's going to be the love interest for Star. And so I like his character. And so yeah, we got through the Monopoly pieces, them finding that and kind of working through some of their issues and having conversations and such. And so that's kind of where we're at. So I know the next part's probably going to be them working together to put on this festival or whatnot. And of course, there are various romances because, like I said, Maggie, she wants to keep it a secret and he doesn't. And then Sloane, her and her wife are having issues because of the tension and the stress of IVF. And like her wife doesn't want to carry a baby, but she really does. And she's like, and so they had a conversation. It was like I could carry it, but then will you resent me down the line because you're the one that wanted to carry it and you couldn't? Like I know, I have no doubt you would love our child, but I don't have that need in me to carry a child where you do. And I could see it causing issues later on. And then Star's just like a hot mess. So I think she'd be really cute with the Sotheby's guy. So I'm looking forward to getting back into this. Excuse me. I am probably going to continue to listen to this, and that way I can play World of Warcraft with my husband this weekend and continue this. So this will probably be over the weekend since we're going to be gone today. I'll probably listen to it a little bit more tonight and then finish it up tomorrow. Excuse me, I got froggies. So that's the plan with that one. And then the one we're going to be listening to today while we drive is The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. So I haven't started this yet. But I gave my husband the option because I read a few pages of this, but I just wasn't in the mood to read, so I hadn't actually started this. So I gave him both options, and I told him, I think you would like this one more than this one. And so we're going to be listening to the Christmas Fix today. And then I was planning on starting this one last night, but I was just too tired. So I did not even get to midnight at the Christmas book shop. So hopefully tonight, but I might be too tired tonight. And so if that's the case, I will definitely focus on reading this tomorrow. We'll just have to see kind of how it goes. So there's that. Tonight we will be reading. I did talk to my husband, and he said he's fine with continuing. So we'll be reading the next story in Mystery for Christmas by Cynthia Manson. The next one is, and it's just, they haven't been wowing me. But there's been a few that I've enjoyed. So this one's actually called Mystery for Christmas by Anthony Boucher. Um, and so that's what we're gonna be reading tonight when we get back. So that will be the Advent for tonight. And then of course we have today's pick, which is another hardback. It doesn't feel like it's the right size for a Richard Paul Evans. So I think that's either, it also doesn't feel like this would be a Mary Higgins Clark, but it's possibly a Mary Higgins Clark. Or I think I have one, excuse me, one other one that's a hardback, that's completely different. So we're gonna find out anyway. Let me go ahead and get this open. Okay, that one went really smoothly. It was nice to me. Okay, let's see what, if I can get my hands in there. All right. Let's see. Okay, this is the one I was thinking of when I said I have another hardback. So this is Train Tracks by Michael Savage, and it's family stories for the holidays. And so let's see here. I don't know if this is like short stories. It is. It looks like. Well, there's a lot of them too. So it's 258 pages, so it's not too long. But it says, in time for the holidays, a celebration of family, home, and tradition. The holidays, it's the time when families gather and reflect on the past year, to remember losses, to toast triumphs, to look forward to new beginnings. In the spirit of the season, beloved author and radio host Michael Savage's Train Tracks reminds us how every member of our family, in fact, each individual we encounter through time, contributes essential gifts to our life story. In the title chapter, set in the early 1950s, Savage remembers the excitement and mystery of riding the train from New York's Old Penn Station to rural Pennsylvania at the start of holiday break. Drawn from Savage's own journey from poor immigrant son to medium stardom, these deeply personal true tales show us that even in today's homogenizing times, we are all charting a unique destiny as we journey through life. Train Tracks is an instant holiday classic by an American original, a very special gift to be read and shared as we gather together. So I don't know if it's short stories or not, because it kind of looks like it might be like chapters too. And look, there's pictures. That's fun. I always like pictures in a book. So I'll find out, I guess, once I read it. Because it's set up like it's like chapters with just chapter titles. Um, but maybe it's just like kind of like people I want to punch in the throat, where it's like little essays or something. Either way, I'm looking forward to this. This is another one. I think I found it on Thrift Books. You can see it has a little damage there. I think I found this on Thrift Books when I was just making an order and looking for like Bookmas books and such. So, and it seems a little different. And so this will be good since I have the few contemporary romances. And so yeah, we got we're getting quite the stack here. So this is today's lineup. It's not easy to hold here. Maybe if I go like that. So yeah, this is today's lineup. Luckily, we're just reading one story in here. and I'm almost done with people I want to punch in the throat. And we'll be listening to the other two via audio, so it's just two I need to read physically. So hopefully I can make some progress. Obviously, I'll make progress on the audio books, but hopefully I can make some progress on some of these physical reads as well. Not a great update today, but I will be back tomorrow to let you know how it goes. And yeah, I will see you guys then.